In this video, I would like to go over solutions to the problems in our section 9.3 worksheet. And the topic of this worksheet is slope and applications of the slope. All right, so for number one, I have a graph of a line here. I want to know what is the slope of the line. Now I've marked in blue the points that correspond to whole numbers for the x and whole numbers for the y's. So they fall sort of on those specific places on the grid. Okay, so we're looking for the slope. And our definition of slope, and slope, the symbol for slope is an m. So the definition of slope is the change, let's say vertical change divided by the horizontal change. And when I say the vertical change or the horizontal change, I mean between any 2 points on the graph. It doesn't matter which 2 points you choose, but between any 2 points. And sometimes this is referred to as more simply rise over run. Now it doesn't matter what 2 points you pick, but let's say I pick this point right here and this point right here. So if you think about how to get from this point to this point, well, you have to go up and then you have to go over. So the vertical change would be up 2. So the slope would be vertical change of 2, that's the rise, and a horizontal change of 1, 2, 3. So up 2, that's positive 2, and right 3 units, that's a positive 3. So the slope of this line is 2/3. Now, like I said, it doesn't matter which 2 points you use. Let's say we look at this point and this point. Well, how do I get from here to here? Well, we have to go up, and we have to go over. So the rise, or the vertical change, 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. So the slope would be a vertical change of positive 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units to the right. So positive 6 in the x direction. And the fraction 4 over 6, that reduces to, again, 2 over 3. Now it doesn't matter which points you choose, it doesn't matter which direction you choose. So let's do one more. Let's say we use this point here and this point here. Actually, to color code, this one should be a red. This one should be red. Okay. So let's say, how do I get from this point right here to this point right here? Well, we go to the left, and then we go down. So the slope would be the vertical change. Actually, let's do that a little bit differently. Let's say from this point to this point. So we go down, and then we go left. Let's put the slope down here. So the slope would be the vertical change, which is down 2, so negative 2, divided by the horizontal change, which is left 3 units, which would be negative 3. And again, if we reduce this fraction, the negative signs cancel. So we have, again, 2 over 3. So it doesn't matter which 2 points we choose, we get 2/3. It doesn't matter if we go left to right or right to left, we get 2/3. And that's slope. Slope is constant for the line. All right. So let's move on to number 2. Find the slope of the line given by the equation 2x plus 5y equals 26. Well, the form of this particular equation is called the standard form or general form of the equation, and that's the form something times x plus something times y is equal to something. So you don't see the letter m in this equation. What we could do is, we don't need to graph, we don't need to look at points on the graph. What we could do is we could rearrange this equation and solve for y. Because once we solve, let's go back here. Once we solve for y, we have y equals m times x plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So we're looking for the slope. Now, if we're just working with the equation, the slope is the number in front of the x. If the equation is in y equals form. So right now, in this equation given in the problem, the 2 in front of the x is not the slope. The number in front of the x is not the slope unless we first solve for y. So let's do that. Let's start with the equation 2 times x plus 5 times y is equal to 26. And let's solve for y. So we could subtract 2x from both sides. Okay, so the positive 2x and the negative 2x cancel. So we have 5 times y is equal to negative 2x, and we have a positive 26, so plus 26. Okay, now we want y by itself, so divide by 5, both sides. Divide by 5 and divide by 5. So we get y equals, the 5's cancel, so y equals negative 2 over 5 times x plus 26 over 5. So what we've done is we've taken this equation here and rearranged it. Solve for y, and now we have this equation, which is just another way of saying the same thing. You know, just like the number 1/2 could also be written as 0.5. Fractions and decimals are two ways of saying the same thing. Okay, so that's what we've done here. And once you solve for y, the number in front of the x is the slope. So in this case, the slope is equal to negative 2/5. All right, so let's move on to number 3. Graph the line containing each pair of points and find the slope. So we have 4 pairs of points, so we're going to have 4 lines. Let me make this a little smaller so the graph will fit in the screen. Okay, so let's start off with this first pair. So we have the point, and I'll use blue for this one, the point 3, 8. So 3 on the x-axis, 1, 2, 3. And 8 on the y-axis, so 5, there's 6, there's 7, and there's 8. So here is the point 3, 8, and the second point, 6, negative 7. So 6 on the x-axis, and down here at negative 7 on the y-axis. So positive 6, negative 7 will be down here. Okay, so there's our 2 points, and the 2 points, let's make that a little closer. 2 points give us the line. It's a little wobbly, it should be straight, but there's the line. Okay, so, and the slope of this line, so this is the point, let me label the points. This is 3, 8, and this is 6, negative 7. And so the slope is the change in y, so the y value minus the y value. So our 2 y values are 8 and negative 7. So let's say 8 minus a minus 7. And then x minus x, so 3 minus 6. All right, 8 minus a minus 7 is 8 plus 7. Which is 15. And 3 minus 6 is a negative 3. And 15 divided by negative 3 will be negative 5. So the slope is negative 5. All right, so let's look at the second point, and let's do the second one in, let's say, red. So we have the point negative 2 for x, negative 2 for y. So there's the point negative 2, negative 2. And then we have the point 1 for x, 4 for y. All right, so we have 2 points, which means we have a line. And the slope of this line. The vertical change, so y minus y, so that's 4 minus a minus 2. And for the x's, we have a 1 minus a minus 2. Okay, on top, 4 minus a minus 2, or 4 plus 2 is 6. 1 minus a minus 2, or 1 plus 2 would be 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So the slope of that second line is 2. So we have one negative slope, one positive slope. All right, number 3. Do green. So we have the point 3, 3. 3 for x, 3 for y. And we have the point negative 4, comma 3. So negative 4 for the x, positive 3 for the y. All right, and it looks like here we have a horizontal line. And the slope of a horizontal line is always equal to 0. And we could actually put those numbers into the slope formula. So y minus y, and the reason it's 0 is because they have the same y value. So 3 minus 3 will give you 0 on top. And on the bottom, it doesn't really matter, but we have a 3 over here. We have a minus 4, so minus a minus 4. Which gives us 0 over 7, and 0 divided by anything is equal to 0. So that's our slope of 0. And finally, our last point, point D, and let's use, we could use this orange for this one. So we have the point 5, comma 2. So 5 for the x, 2 for the y. And the second point, negative 6 for the x and 2 for the y. So that's another horizontal line. So the slope again is 0. Okay, if you end up with a vertical line, the vertical line means you'd have a 0 in the denominator. So that would give you an undefined slope, because 0, you cannot have a 0 in the denominator of a fraction. All right, so let's move on, and we could zoom back out here. So for number 4, Kananaskis Rapids drops 55 feet vertically over a horizontal distance of 928 feet. All right, so we have these rivers are flowing downhill. And we're given that it drops vertically by 55 feet over a horizontal distance of 928 feet. Okay, so the river is sort of flowing downhill, maybe down a mountain or a hillside, something like this. All right, so slope is vertical change, the change in the y value. So down 55 would be negative 55 divided by the horizontal change. So the change in y divided by change in x. So vertically it goes down 55, and horizontally it goes to the right 928. And that's it. Nothing else to do here. That's the slope, negative 55 divided by 928. All right, one more of these application problems. An old house has a basement stairway that has steps with 7.25-inch risers and 9-inch treads. All right, what does that mean? Well, this word risers, I'm going to say that's probably in the vertical direction, because rise over run, rise is the vertical direction. So we have some steps. And the question is, what is the slope of the staircase? I should probably draw it so it's a little bit more in line with that dotted line. So our steps are doing something like this. Now, we're given that the vertical distance is 7.25 inches. You know what, actually or we could leave it like this. 7.25 inches. So that would be this distance, or the height of the step, and 9-inch tread. So this here is 9. All right, so the slope of the staircase is rise over run, 7.25 divided by 9. I'm going to leave this positive because the staircase could be in this direction where it has, the slope looks positive. So it doesn't, just because I drew it in a negative, the negative direction doesn't mean it has to be negative. Okay, but we can't leave the answer like this because we can't have decimals and fractions together. It's one or the other. You pick decimals or you pick fractions. With slope, we usually use fractions, so let's get rid of the decimal. Now, the way to get rid of this decimal is to multiply by 100, because that'll move the decimal point 2 places to the right, giving us 725, and we can't just do the top, we have to also do the bottom. Okay, so that'll give us 725 divided by 900. And let's simplify this. Well, 725 is definitely divisible by 25, and so is 900. So 725 is 25 times, 29. So if you divide 725 by 25, you get 29. And if you divide 900 by 25, 900 is the same as 25 times 36. Okay, and those 25s will cancel. So it looks like the simplified fraction would be 29 divided by 36. And that's as simplified as we can make this fraction. All right. So that does it for the section 9.3 worksheet. My next video, I will be working through the problem set for section 9.4. All right, that's it for now. I hope this was helpful.